Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are going to be working on this gorgeous drawstring bag that you see right here. Simply divine. Now the colour combination chosen for this particular bag was chosen by one of our subscribers on our live antics. We have live antics at 10 a.m. Saturday morning Melbourne, Australia time, and also we have a normal lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoon Melbourne, Australia time. Now the colour combination was chosen by the lovely Jan on our last live antics, which was 2 Saturdays ago. I missed last Saturdays, but anyway, she chose this gorgeous colour that you see right here, which is, let's get a nice close up for you all. The colour is upside down for starters. The colour is Garden Oasis, yeah, and it is Caron cakes. Yeah, it's a cotton, and it is how many? I think it's a half cotton. It's not a full cotton. It says, no, 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. All right. And it does call for a 5mm hook, which we are using today. Yes. And we're also using a pair of scissors. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try that again. A stitch marker and a sewing needle. And we're just going to use a measuring tape real quickly, just to measure the bag. All right, it just so that you know how big this bag is going to be. Now, from memory, it was 20 centimeters, but I can't, don't judge me on it. Let's just, yes, it's 20 centimeters or whatever that is, 8 inches. Yes, 8 inches. Yes, there we go. Let's see close up. 20 centimeters in width, and I think it's 20 centimeters in length also. Oh, it's about 20.1 centimeters or about 8.5 inches roughly in length. All right, so the reason I'm showing you this measurement is because I say in the tutorial, if you want yours bigger, then you need to do the base round a little bigger. Okay, now this will hold mobile phones, purses, tissues, whatever it is that you want to put in there. Just be wary, it does have the holes. It's more of a beach baggy thing. I mean, you can pop in your bathing suit in there or whatever it is you want to put in there, your book when you go on the train, whatever. I know I read on the train, but I don't know if that's just me. But anyway, so whatever you want to put in your bag, you can. All right, so thank you, Jan, for your colour combination. She chose the colours and she chose the colours of the beads as well. We have 2 beads, so you will need 2 beads as well. All right, now what else can I tell you about it? It is a very basic stitch. The brand Spankin' New Crocheter can make this bag. It doesn't look easy, but it is so easy. It's as easy as making a granny square, and I show you how to make the granny square, and the rest is just super easy. In fact, after the granny square, you're doing the same round over and over and over and over again until you get to your desired length. Best part was I didn't have to cut my thread. This is done in one piece. So I only sewed up one end down here and one end up here somewhere. Plus, obviously, we had to make the straps separately. But otherwise, the actual bag itself is made in one piece. All right, I'm not going to hold you up anymore, guys. I'm going to let you head off on your own, creating this gorgeous little bag that you see right here. Drawstring bag, it's called. And when you close up your drawstrings, it looks like that. Colour combination chosen by the lovely Jan. Thank you very much and good luck all. Alrighty guys, we're going to start off by making a magic loop or a magic circle or magic ring, whatever you want to call it. And that's usually taking the tail end of your yarn and give yourself a nice little tail, leaving it in front, yeah, and just grab yourself 2 fingers, yeah. Grab the working end of your yarn, wrap it around 2 fingers, like so, but crossing over, forming a little X, if you will, yeah. See the letter X, yeah. Grab your 5mm hook or whatever size you are using, pop it under the first loop, pull that back loop up, and what you have is the 1, the 2, and then these 2 threads here. You just grab this one, don't let go of anything, and you hold it there for now. Sort yourself out, and then pass it back over, and then you just chain 1 like so. All right, tighten it up a little, and then you chain 2, the second one, I should say, and then you chain 3. All right, grab a stitch marker. Now what I want you to do is pop your stitch marker or a safety pin or a paper clip, hairpin, whatever you've got in stock. You're passing it through the first loop and into the second loop of that chain that you just made, and what you should have is 2 loops on top and 1 loop underneath. 2 loops on top and 1 underneath. Hope that made sense. Close it up, and then all you're doing here is doing a double crochet in that center. You might want to give it a small tug. Don't close it up too much, because then you won't be able to do your stitches, but just give it a little bit of a tug, and then what you have is that. So it's easier to work with, yeah? About a thumb size, if that helps. Yeah, so yarn over your hook, straight into the space, pull a loop through, and you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and you've made a double crochet. All right, we're going to do another one, yarn over the hook, into the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and that's your second one. In this round, and every round thereafter, this chain 3 will act as a double crochet, all right? So you'll actually have done 3 double crochets if you think about it, right? So now you're going to chain 1. Normally I would chain 2, but in this kind of a bag, to keep it all together and tight, I've decided to chain just the 1. All right, so now what we're going to do is do 3 more double crochets. So off we go. Yarn over the hook, in the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and off you go doing your second one. Third, hold it there. Yeah, you've got 3 there, chain 1, 3, you're going to chain another 1, and then you're going to do another 3 in the same space. All right, 1, 2, 3. So you've got 3, chain 1, 3, chain 1, 3, you guessed it, chain 1. And then you're popping in 3 more double crochets. And this is your last set of 3 double crochets, as I like to call it, a cluster of 3 double crochets. Or some people call it a shell. Okay. All right, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters or 4 shells. Chain 1. Always remember to chain 1 at the end of your last set. All right, what you're going to do here, you're going to slip stitch into that stitch marker stitch. But before you do, you're going to grab your tail like so. Give it a big tug, and what it'll do is it'll close up your center, making it magic. That's why we call it the magic loop or the magic circle or the magic ring, whatever you want to call it, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into the stitch with a stitch marker, but I think mine's a little tight. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker. You don't need to if yours is nice and loose. But if it's tight like mine, you might need to take it out. Well, the idea is to pop your hook in those top 2 loops and have 1 at the base, all right? And then you just pull your loop through like so, yeah, and pull it through to the loop on your hook, and you've formed a little square. It's hard to make out at the moment. You can still see a little bit there. Normally we would chain 2 in each corner, but for the purpose of the bag and the strength of the bag, I wanted to make it a little bit more tighter. All right, so what we're going to do from here, we are going to slip stitch across. You are in that top chain. Now these little V's that you see here, they look like the letter V's, yeah? You're going to pop your hook in the top of that V and pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook once. Then you're going to go into the next stitch and do the same. Right into that V area, pull a loop through and pull it through a second time. And then you're going to jump into the space and do exactly the same thing. Not the stitch, just the big space. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook, and you are now in one of the corners, yeah? So you're chaining 1, 2, and 3. Stop what you're doing, grab your stitch marker and pop it in those top 2 loops like you did in the previous round, yeah? And in that corner right there, same space you're in, you're going to put your 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Then you're going to chain 1 and put another 3 double crochets in there, or another 3, a set of 3, plus the set of 3, 1, 2, and 3. And what you have is a corner in the corner. Pop your hook in, right? And then you're going to skip over these 3 double crochets, or cluster set if you will, and you're going to do a double crochet in the very next corner space. So pop your double crochet in there like so. There was no chaining in between that space, only chaining in the corners, yeah? And third one, yeah? Once again, because we're in a corner and we want to create the corner, we chain 1 and then we put 3 more double crochets in the same space. I'm going to use the jargon in the next space so you understand the jargon. So when you do decide to purchase any of my patterns, you'll know what I mean by cluster sets. We're going to pop a double cluster set or a corner cluster set in this space. We're going to skip over 3 double crochets and pop our corner cluster set, which is 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 3 double crochets. 2, 1 more. I can't count. All right, do exactly the same. Jump over your cluster set and do your last corner cluster set in that last corner. 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and your 3 in the same space, all in the same space. 2, 1 more, and 3. All right. Now what you once again have is that. So your square is now been made. Your second round of square has been made. All right. So we're going to slip stitch to join into the stitch with our stitch marker like we did before, exactly the same, like that. All right, that's going to be the same in every round. All right, so there we go. Round, it's a square, but because we're working in rounds, it's a round, even though it's a square. All right, so now we're going to slip stitch into that second stitch like we did in the previous round, like that. Slip stitch into the third stitch and slip stitch into your corner. And what are you going to do here? Chain 1, 2 and 3. Grab your stitch marker yet again. Now this is round 3 that we are doing. Let me show you the rounds so you know. That very first set was round 1 and this is round 2, and the one we're doing now is round 3. All right, now this round is going to be a tad different, but the corners will always be the same. All right, so you're popping your 2 double crochets in there. Nothing changes there. Chain 1 and 3 double crochets. Well, nothing changes for now. It will change later, but for the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 rounds, it won't change. All right. All right, so what the difference here is, now we have our corner way over here, right? Which means we have a space before our corner. So we have to start filling up those spaces there. This is one space only in this round. Your next round will have 2. But let's just do the one, and what you're going to do in that one space there is 3 double crochets or 1 cluster set. So do your 3 double crochets, no chaining, just go straight into that space with 3 double crochets. Yes, then you're going to jump into the corner with a corner cluster set of 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and 3 double crochets all in the same space. That's your corner cluster set. Sorry about that noise, that's my stitch marker on the table. And once again, you have that space before your next corner. So you have to go into that space with 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. And guess what? You're jumping straight into your corner with your corner cluster set. All right, so I'm going to pick up speed a little bit, and we're going to get through this row, or round I should say, fairly quickly. Chain 1, make sure you do your 3, 1, 3 in the corner. That's all you need to remember. 3, 1, 3 in the corner, and 3 in every other space. And that's how easy this pattern is. So if you are a beginner, you can do this pattern. You can take your time, pause the video, and do the pattern at your own pace. All right? Jumping into your space before your corner and doing your 1 cluster set or 3 double crochets. It's good to hear the jargon of crochet, the different ways of saying things. You're jumping into the corner with a corner cluster set. Whoops, and I went into the wrong space. Be careful, you know, just right now I went into a space before the corner, all right? So just be careful. She says that she wasn't careful. Don't you love it? All right, so do your corner set or your double set, whatever you want to call it. Chain 1 and your 3 double crochets. This is our last side. We'll talk about that in a minute. 2 and 1 more, 3. So when I'm in your last sides, your last side I should say, you have 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides and 4 sides. So this is your last side. And you actually need to put a cluster set in that space before the corner. So pop your cluster set, just 1 in the space. And 3. All right, so where you are is like that. You've got your 4 corners and you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4 sides complete. All right, and this is the pattern from now on. All right, but what you want to do is, I think this one might be too tight, slip stitch into your tight chain 1, top chain. Yeah, this one's too tight. Let me take out my stitch marker. She does it, guys. She does it in all her tutorials. They're very tight. Yep, there we go. Pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook, and you have your square. How gorgeous is that looking? All right, so once again, the start of the round is exactly the same. We've done 1, 2, 3 rounds. We are up to 4th round. So slip stitch into your 2nd stitch, like so, and into your 3rd stitch, like so, and straight into the corner space, like so. And you know how to do the corner. 1, 2, 3. Oh, stitch marker. Hopefully that's not too tight. Oh, it's a bit loose this time. That's good. Oh dear. Oh, don't do them so tight. All right, here we go. Don't do them too loose either, otherwise it's very noticeable. All right, so you are going to put 2 double crochets in there, 1 and 2, chain 1, and complete your corner with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now, like I said before, on the side that we had before, we only had 1 space. Now we have 1, 2, and then you have your corner. So you need to put a cluster set in each one of these spaces here, and then your corner. All right, so off you go, putting your 3 double crochets in the first one. Again, no chaining in between. And then 3 into your next one. Remember to only chain in the corners. Each corner needs a chain. All right, my thread is stuck. Oh, don't you love it? All right, so you are now, you've done your 2 side, or I should say your side, your first side, but your 2 side spaces. You're jumping into the first corner, even though it may be the second corner, but we'll call it the first. 1, 2, and 3. I'm just checking to see if I actually got it in the corner. Yeah, 3 there and 3 there. Yeah, chain 1. Oh, she's worried now. She made one mistake before. And doing your 3 double crochets, all in the corner. 3, 1, 3. That's all you need to remember. And then you've got your sides, 1 and 2. All right, so this is super easy. 1, 2, and 3. And pick up speed a little bit more now. Whoops, she says, as she's already made a mistake. 3. Jump into your next space, no chaining, with 3 double crochets. 2, 3. And right into the corner with a corner set of 3, 1, 3. 2 and 3. Chain 1, and then you're doing your 3 double crochets. All right, so I'm not going to sit here and let you watch me do this. I actually will let you watch me do it, but I'm going to pop this video on very fast for you. You can slow it down if you like. All right, okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to pop this on really fast for you, and I want you to get right down to the very last space. You can slow the video down for yourself if you like, but I'm going to pop it on fast, and off we go. Don't you love it? I did a whole row and messed up on the last stitch. All right, so what you have is that. Now what we're going to do is slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, and I really think this is tight for me. Let's take out the stitch marker. Slip stitch into the stitch with stitch marker, guys. And in we go. That's better. All right, and we're pulling a loop through like so, through to the loop on your hook, and you have now completed round 4. All right, now just a quick tip, if you are wanting to make just plain squares, normally I complete my rounds until I get to round 4, and then I cast off and use different colours to join and so on. All right, but you know, if you want to continue on with a bag like us, then let's continue on with the bag. So we're going to slip stitch into the second stitch like we do in every round, 1, and into the third, 2, and into your space, 3, And what are you going to do? Chain 1, 2 and 3. Pop your stitch marker in. If you can, she says, struggling to get that stitch marker in there. Must be it's too tight. Okay, and you're doing your 2 double crochets because your chain 3 acts as your third one, remember? Chain 1 and then your 3 double crochets. You know the corners now. We are experts at making corners. Yeah? And your third one. All right. So I'm not going to sit here and let you watch me do this round. I think you can do this round on your own. All right. And the reason is because you know what you need to do now. I should have just kept it up here, shouldn't I? You need to fill in each space you come to with 1 cluster set. Now over here we had 1 only to fill in. The next row we had 2 to fill in. Now this row, we should say rounds, we have 1, 2 and 3 to fill in. So you need to, for every side on this round, you need to do 1, 2, 3 cluster sets. Then you need to do your corner cluster. And then you need to go 1, 2, 3 cluster sets. And then you need to do your corner. So 1, 2, 3, corner, 1, 2 and 3. When you get to that very last set, do the set, wait for me there, and I'll meet you up once you're done. And what I mean by 3, let me just show you the first one. You're jumping straight into that very first space, no chaining, just jump into the space and do your 3 double crochets. All right, the rest you know what to do. You've been doing it in every round. Make sure you are filling up all your side spaces. Fill up your corners, your side spaces, your corners, all the way till you get to your last space right there. And I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round, if you will. And this is round 5. How you can tell, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's your corner 5. So what we're going to do, you should have remembered what you should have done. Corner 1, 2, 3, corner 1, 2, 3, and then you slip stitch. Looks, might not be too bad. Slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. That's not too bad today. This one. All right, take out your stitch marker and just pull up a loop for a minute so we can have a little discussion. All right, so what we want to do now, we're going to chain up and continue. But what we want to do, and this is entirely up to you, right? You can decide whether you want your bag to be the size that I stated at the beginning of this tutorial, which is where we stop right here and we do our closing up walls round, if you will, right? Or you can continue making your rows a lot bigger, which will make your base wider, which will make your whole bag wider, which will mean you'd have to do more rows or rounds, if you will, and that would mean you would need more yarn. All right, but for my size, I'm going to stop right here. It's going to be a small purse size so that you can pop in your phone or whatever it is you want to pop in, your purse, your phone, whatever it is you want to pop in, it doesn't matter. But if you wanted yours for, like, say, a beach bag or something, I would go right up to 10 rounds. Okay, I would continue, altogether 10 rounds, yeah? I would continue going. You would need more yarn. You would need a few skeins of these, yeah? 2 or 3 skeins worth. But for now, just for the sake of this size bag, we're going to stop right here, all right? I'm just going to take that stitch undone right there. And this is what we did. We slip stitched, right? We did chain 1, but we've taken it undone. And we're going to slip stitch into your next stitch like normal, slip stitch into your next like normal, and slip stitch into the corner like normal, yeah? You're going to chain 1, 2, and 3 like normal. Pop in your stitch marker. You're going to put only 2 double crochets in the space. All right, to close up our round and start making our walls, you're only going to put 3 double crochets in every corner now. You're not going to be putting any corners in there. You're going to put it just 3. So now you're going to jump straight into the very next space. Now this row has 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So you need to do your cluster set in each space. Skip over your 3 double crochets, do your cluster set. This is going to pull, and that's the idea. Okay, it's going to pull all the way through this round. You're going to find it tugging, and that's normal. All right, so now you just keep doing your cluster sets until you get to your very next corner. It's a very basic bag, guys. It's literally, you know, if you're new to crochet, you can do this. I'm going very fast for you, but you can slow down the video, right? And you, as a new crocheter, can make this little bag. Oops, I've done a half double there. Don't do that. That's a half double, guys. All right, and there's our corner. We've done our 1, 2, 3, 4 cluster sets. We're going to jump into the corner with just 1 cluster set. Into the corner with 1 cluster set, just 1 of 3 double crochets only. And I've got a knot. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? There we go. We're under control. So 3 double crochets. Normally you would chain 1 and put another set. We're not going to do that. Yarn over the hook, jump straight into your very next space with 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. Next space, 3 double crochets. Right. And the next one, 3 double crochets. Next space, 3 double crochets. And your very next corner, the very next corner you see 3 double crochets only. Are you seeing the picture here? Sure are. And all you're doing really, if you have to think about this round, is all you are doing is putting 3 double crochets in every space until you get to your last space. All right, so I'm going to pop this on fast, and I want you to do just that. 3 double crochets in every space, even your corners, and off we go doing that. And I'll pop this on fast, and I'll meet you once we get to this stitch marker set right there, and off we go. And 3. That's my very last cluster set. What you have is, oh, that didn't work. Let's bring that down again. That's better. Is that it's going to turn and pull up and look like it's wrong. But that's not going to be wrong. Once it starts growing, that's the inside of your work where your thread is. It will start growing like that, and those walls will come up. It looks square right now, but it'll start to become a little rounder. All right, before we continue and do anything else, we are going to weave in that end. All right, don't let anyone tell you that that magic loop or circle ring, or whatever you want to call it, won't come out. It will. All right, you need to weave this end in. Now you might find your circle's probably opened up a little bit. You tighten it and you start going into the round with your sewing needle. You don't have to have this little, darning flick. In fact, a normal needle works better here and not the darning one. I just had it in stock. And just going into your stitches that you're already in. Just check the front of your work and make sure you can't see the needle, and just pop it through like that. It's cotton, so it'll be a little bit difficult. It kind of gets a bit tough to get through, but you can do it. Again, through the next set, check the front. Can't see the needle. Fantastic. Once you get around to the opposite side where you first started, just turn your work and go back in the other direction. All right, just not a lot, just a little bit, so that you can really secure that thread. And I do a lot, so you don't have to do a lot. A lot of people say, wow, you really overdo it. I do. And I'm very, very pedantic about tails. Now, don't forget, this is going to be a bag, so there's going to be a lot of pressure on the center of your piece. So you want to make sure that's overdone. Or as I like to say, overcooked. You want it to be really, really good. I think that's plenty now. I've gone around once and I've gone around twice. And we've actually crocheted over it once as well. All right, so your center is now complete. You don't need to worry about that tail anymore, and that's what it looks like on the outside. No matter how hard you tug that, that's not going to come undone because you have really done well with your end. All right, so that's done, and we don't have to worry about that anymore because we're working with one skein. Hopefully there's no knots in there. You will never have to cut this thread at any time until the very end. So slip stitch into your first stitch like you would normally do. Now, you have choices here. Now, it's not compulsory to let's try that again. It's not compulsory to slip stitch across and go into the next space. I actually don't do that in this particular piece. I literally chain my 3 and put 2 double crochets here and then do a full round. When I get to this section here, then I slip stitch across. So in every second round I slip stitch across, and in every other round I'll do it the other way where I chain 3 right here. Now this is not necessary, it's just a little thing that I do, and what it does is it keeps your stitches in the one area. It goes front, back, right? 1, 2, and 3. I'll just show you this way of doing it, right? And if you want to do it this way, you can. Otherwise, just right now, slip stitch across and get into your next space. So I'm going to do my 2 double crochets here. It's a little awkward because we've done something different. And then jump into the next space with my 3 double crochets. So now guys, what we're going to do here is I want you to pop a cluster of 3 double crochets into each set that you come to. Yeah, come back around all the way until you get to your very last set, which, let me get you a close-up, right? You've done all of your cluster sets in each set. Get to this one right here. It's right before that space there. All right, so your job now is to just pop a cluster set into each space, get to this space right here, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round, and my pink has kicked in. Kind of went two and a half sets of purple and then went into the pink. Really odd. Now, it doesn't matter with colour change in this bag because it won't be noticed, all right? So I asked you to get to your very last space there, yep. And all you're doing here is slip stitching. I'm taking mine out because mine's really tight. Slip stitch into your nice tight chain right there. Pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook. Now you can slip stitch across. All right, so pop your hook in, pull a loop through like so, and into the next stitch, and into the space, pull the loop through, chain 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, and there we go. So you actually have what I like to call a 2 round repeat. Do your 2 double crochets in that space. Yeah, jump into your very next space and do 3 double crochets. All right, so what you do in the next round, when you slip stitch to join, you can just chain up your 3 and do your 2 double crochets in the same spot that you were in, and then you continue around. You don't have to do it that way. You can continue to do your, slip stitch to join and then slip stitch over into the space and then keep going that way as well. Now, the reason I'm giving you this instruction is because this is the right side of our work. When we're finished, we'll turn it that way and it'll start to grow like that. So you can see the walls coming up, closing up. Totally normal. That's what we're looking for. All right. So guess what your job is now? You need to actually do or continue those last 2 rounds there that we just did. You need to do those 2 rounds over and over and over again until you reach your desired length. Now, the measurements that I had in the beginning of the tutorial, those measurements were made using 15 more rounds, all right, including this one. So this is round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15 rounds. All right, so if you wanted to do the same size as my bag, then just do another 15 rounds just like this. If you want to make yours taller because you've made yours wider, let's just say you've made yours wider and you want to make yours taller, then you need to go into another 10 rounds. So you need to do 25 rounds or something like that. All right, just be wary, you will not have a lot of yarn for a bigger bag. You needed to change the yarn amount for the size of the bag. All right, so for your job now is to head off on your own, do your 15 rounds, and I will meet you back here once you're done. Don't cast off because we have another round that we're going to do in a different stitch. All right, so do your 15 rounds right now and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are. Can I bring this out a little bit? I can't. Let's try that. No, I'm trying to bring it out a bit more. Here we go. That's the best I can do, guys. This is what we have now. That's right. We'll leave it that way. And what you should have is that. What is that? Look at that. I haven't had to cut my yarn, not even once. And you can see a change in colour there, but it's not going to be noticed once you are carrying your bag like that. Right, so what we're going to do now, we're not finished yet, and I think I've just dropped a stitch here. Excuse me, Mary, come on. She can't get it right today, guys. So let's finish off that last double crochet right there. All right, and let's slip stitch into the top of the stitch. I haven't got my stitch marker in, but I don't use it off air, but anyway. Pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. We're going to do what I call a finishing row, and you can use any stitch you want for the finishing row. You can use your double crochets, your half doubles. I'm going to use a single. So we're chaining 1, and in the same stitch that you are in right there, we're going to pop a single crochet. So all you're doing is pop your hook in the stitch, pull a loop through like so, nice tight stitch. Okay, you got 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both those loops. All right, pop your stitch marker in the top of that stitch there because you're going to slip stitch into that at the end of the round. And now what you're going to do is put a single crochet in every stitch you come to. So it's every stitch you come to. All right, so you pop your hook in the next stitch, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, 2, next, and 2, and so on. No stopping, not in the spaces, just in all the stitches. If you're not sure I'm putting it, see the V's right there? That's 1 V, you put it in that stitch right there. Next V, put it in that stitch right there. Next, there, and so on. All right, all the way across your piece. All right, I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do it. What I want you to do now is to do, let's do that for starters. Oh, that didn't work. Hello. It's all over the place. Do your single crochet in every stitch. Get to your second last stitch right there, or your last stitch, or whichever. Meet me there, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of this round. I'm just going to do, I've got my second last stitch there and my last stitch right there. Yeah. Now don't confuse the slip stitch as a stitch. Yeah. What you're going to do now is just slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook, taking out your stitch marker and pull up a loop. All right, now if you wanted to do another round, you can. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give it a cut, and we're going to weave that end in when we get a moment. But before we do, I'm going to get you to head off on your own and do something for me. All right, we need to do chains. All right, we need to make the straps so that we can pop our little beads on. Buttons, beads, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. All right, so what we're going to do is just, let's do this, get that out of the way for a minute. Grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once or twice. Now you can use any colour that you like from your skein. I don't have too much left, but I've got plenty of the white left. So I'm going to use the white. You use whichever colour you want, yeah? Pass your back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there. Pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in, give everything a tug. All right, now what you're going to do is just make some chains. All right, so let's do some chains, which is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through to the loop on your hook once, yarn over 2, yarn over 3, yarn over 4 and 5 and so on. All right, so your job now is to, let's bring that down again, hello, is to move everything out the way. Just chain up as many chains as you want to make your straps, if you will. Now I'm going to chain up between 140 and 160 chains. Not necessary. You can chain less if you want and make your straps smaller. You can chain more, especially if your bag is bigger. Make sure you chain a little bit more. All right, so I've done 5 already, so I want you to just keep going. 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. I'm going to let you do that off air. You need to do 2 of them. Okay, you need 2 sets of chains, 1 set there and 1 set there. So chain your 2 sets of chains up to the amount that you want, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here we have our 2 strips ready to go, but let's move them out the way for now. Grab your piece and the actual last thread that we did here, thread your needle with that last thread, okay? Now this is the right side of our bag, the wrong side is on the inside. So what I want you to do is grab your little thread, pop it in the back of any one of your stitches, like in a back loop anywhere, like so, and just pull it through very gently, and then find some stitching way at the back that you can, let's bring this up a little, move that out the way, that's better. Find some stitching that you can actually go through. It's a bit difficult to see the white, sorry guys, should have done a different colour, shouldn't I, up the top. It's very difficult to see. So you're going to go through the back of some stitches like so, there. Make sure you can't see the needle from the front. Yes, notice how I just gave that a bit of a tug, yeah? And do a little bit more anywhere you want, just in between some stitches. You don't want to just go through the back of the posts and then not through some stitches, like I'm splitting some threads there. So once you get to an area that you like, you're going to just give it a bit of a tug, you're going to go back in the same direction that you came, but in a different area. So like that was a stitch that I came out from. I'm going to jump over and go into another area of the work. Once again, checking the front. Can you see the needle? Oh, I can see the needle. So we're going to take that out. If I can get this needle to work today. Hello, excuse me. Can't get it to work. And just very light threads at the back. I think we're good to go there now. Yep, it's a little tiny bit at the back, but not much. Keep going until you reach a time where you are actually happy. You could have gone even down further down in the bag as well, which I would actually have recommended it, to be fair, because this way it can actually come through the top and you don't want that. So keep going for as long as you want. I'm going to stop there. You can do more if you like. It's entirely up to you. Just give your work a tug and the tail hides in. Yeah. Then what you're going to do is find a part where, just see where your square is down the bottom. Yeah, just fold it to the square pieces, right? And that is where you're going to pop your threads through. Make sure your last tail is at the back, right? Grab one of your threads or one of your chains that you made and just start from, I don't know, actually we need to thread it, don't we? Excuse me, Mary, come on, get it right. So just thread your sewing needle. I'm going to thread this off here. Give me one moment. Sorry, guys, because every time I try and thread a needle, it drives me batty. Thread your needle and just... Let's move this out the way so you can see what I'm doing. The actual spaces between your sets. So through one space and out through the other, like that. And bring it through as far in as you can. Just make sure you're leaving enough so you don't pull it through. All right, so you're hopping over that cluster set and into the space of your next one and out through the space of your next one. All right, so it's just in, out, you know, like that. So you're going over this cluster set and under the next cluster set. All right, so I'm hoping that helps. I should have used a different color, shouldn't I? Over and then under. All right, so when you get to the end of your section, and you'll know where the end is because you started right there and you've got that there, all right? When you get to the end, you just take the thread out and you're going to, oh, let me bring this out a little bit. Hello. You're going to make sure these match, all right? Stretch it out and make sure they're even. Now, they're not even, so give that one a little tug and just pull the rest. That might have pulled too much now. There you go. It's roughly even, yeah? We can sort that out better later anyways, so you still have that there, right? Now you're going to grab your other one, which I've already threaded off air because look at that. It took me forever to thread. Yeah. All right. And now you're going to actually start from the other end, yeah? And you've got to make sure that you don't actually go through your other thread, so be careful, yeah? So you're still going to go in through there, like in through there and around the same area you have been going through, yeah? So just bring it up a little bit and then you're going to jump over and into the very next, like so. Making sure you're not splitting yarn underneath. All right, just make sure that you are not splitting the yarn. Really important, yeah? Otherwise it's not going to close up really well. We're jumping over and we're going around, all right? So once again, going to pop this on fast and off we go. When you get to this section right here, just stopped you for a moment, you're going to jump over it and in through the other area. All right, so just keep going. I think we're done right there. Well, we're not done with the bag. We still have another job to do. All right, so now what we're going to do real quickly is just make sure that both sides are relatively even. And then you're going to actually thread. I'll just straighten that up a little bit. You probably needed a bit of a longer tail for this part here. You're going to thread your beads. We might have to do one at a time. Thread your beads. If you need to put it on your sewing needle, then do so. I'm going to have to do that. All right, so put it on the sewing needle. Oh, here we go. I'm going to do this off air. All right, so I threaded that off air because they take so long. So just pop your needle in your bead. All right, so you're pulling your needle right through. Take it out, leave it there. Grab the other thread and thread your needle yet again. I'll do it off air. All right, so that took a while to thread. You don't see it, it's a second for you, but so long for me. So what you're going to do is pop it through the same direction that you pop the other one through, like so. All right, so what you're going to do is, oh, where is it? It's there, it's coming. All right, so now you're going to make, you're going to make a knot like so. Now before you pull the knot up, make sure you pull it right. See, I've closed it, that's not right, yeah? We want to close it right up towards the actual bead, as close to the bead as we can get it, like that. Oh, that's not too bad now. That's better, right there. All right, now I'm going to do yet again another knot because that bead can still come out. So you do a second knot and you once again, you are pulling it close to your bead. All right, now this is really badly done. Hopefully your knot isn't as bad. I might do a third knot. You don't need to, but that third knot will lock all that into place. Just 2 knots is really, perfect, but I've just messed up my knots, so I'm going to do a third one. You should see the mess I made with the other one. Because I didn't tell you to leave a long enough tail. But there you go. And there's your bead. Now, if you had a second or third bead, you could have done another one and another one. Once you get your beads on, all you're doing is trimming it to suit, that's to suit there. Now, the other one I made a mess of, so I'm going to have to fix that off air. You don't have to worry about that. But do the same for your other one. And then what you have is, let's bring this down. Can we bring it down? There we go. Then what you have is your bag ready and perfect. You give it a tug like that. Perfect. There. And you have your beads. And if you wanted to, you could pop that over your shoulders or as you saw in the photo. All right. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. I've made a big mess here with all these threads, so don't worry about that. Thank you for joining us today and making this gorgeous bag with us. And a special thank you to Jan for her colour combination today with the buttons as well. All right, so thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of Live Antics, join us on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time, where we have lives, and you as a subscriber can get to choose the colour combination of our very next tutorial doing our live antics. All right, or during our live antics, I should say. In the meantime, don't forget you can also join us on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. for our lives as well. That's Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. Once again, a special thank you to Jan, and all I want to say right now is how gorgeous is our bag. Have a great day, and I will catch you very soon. Ciao for now.